What we into this week.
All right.
Welcome, Biz Zach. What's up, boy?
Welcome back. This is our Watchmen episode.
Whoop, whoop.
I didn't ask you. Did you like the Watchmen HBO TV show?
I fucking loved it. Based on...
Were you expecting to love it?
No. Well, I wasn't expecting to love it, but I expected it to be good.
Yeah.
Based on the comic, based on the source material, and based on the movie that they did in... What year was that? What year was the movie?
Oh, the movie was 10 years ago, so 2009?
Nine?
Yeah, 2009. Which I rewatched.
So, based on the movie, I expected to like it. I didn't expect to be blown away and expect a heightened storytelling. Like, they set the bar super, super high for this series.
Right. Created by Damien Lindelof.
Who was in the news this week for being quoted as saying, like, he wasn't sure if he should have even made this.
In what capacity?
In the fact that, like, based on how it tackles race and goes through the sequence of kind of, like, mirroring our reality right now, he was like, I'm not sure if I should make this. You should pull up some of the articles that, like,
okay.
It's really an interesting read, hearing him, and then subsequently Regina King, who is the lead in this, talk about they both get into sort of like the politics of telling a story like this,
right? Because this is, I mean, it's
kind of a divergence, but not that much from the source material, because the source material was based in, was it the war in was that Vietnam? It was Vietnam.
Vietnam, yeah, for the original Watchmen. Yeah.
The original Watchmen was sort of based in, like, the social unrest and upheaval, the social political aspect of where the original Watchmen was based in, had a lot of the same sort of parallels as our world right now.
Yeah, well,
maybe not so much the war aspect of it that we're unjustly fighting, but we just did get done doing.
Well, what's really happened in the last couple of years is that, you know, the Watchmen comic came out in 1986 and was set in 1985. So if you were reading it back then, it was a comment on your
the
reality.
Political. Yeah, it was like the Cold War was going on in that time, and so the original source material was sort of a comment on both the world at that time, and so the two superpowers kind of vying over the entire planet, while, you know, all of the... Wow, you're going to have to edit me punching that mic out.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll edit all your punches out and put on makeup.
He loves me. He really does.
Yeah, so Cold War, nuclear weapons. But if you were reading this in the 90s like I was reading it, or reading it like, you know, a couple days ago, it takes on different interpretations. In the 90s, I was like, there's no Cold War anymore. We were actually looking back at that time period and saying, wow, that would have been a really scary time. That was crazy. And good thing I was a little kid and didn't really recognize all that. And I lived in Indiana, so I don't think anybody was like, we're going to be bombed in Indiana. Whatever.
They're like, no, but if we do, it'll be popcorn out here. We'll just eat popcorn till we can't anymore. Look at all this corn.
Look how fat we are on popcorn. But now I was watching the movie and reading the comic, and under today's context, instead of really it being nuclear weapons, it's climate change.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it functions as the same thing that...
Same device of, like, extinction level event, global crisis.
Right.
Because in the comic was that which is an actual thing, a doomsday clock.
Right.
Which there was, in earlier versions of this podcast, I was talking about this crossover called Doomsday Clock, where this is back when I had access to, like, a really good comic website, and I was talking about this was limited run. I think it was like 12 issues called Doomsday Clock, where the DC universe and the Watchmen universe cross over. Mm-hmm. Whereas Adrian Veidt, the bad guy from
Ozymandias,
Ozymandias. I'm talking about Doomsday Clock now.
Right.
He has gone to Batman's universe, DC universe, to look for Dr. Manhattan. He's looking for Dr. Manhattan to come back to his world, the Watchmen universe, to save it from some sort of extinction level event. And sort of
This was a sequel to Watchmen comic?
It wasn't a sequel. It was. I don't think it was. It's not billed as a sequel. It is a kind of one-off where it happened. The events of it happen after the Watchmen, but I don't think it's correlated in sort of being like a direct sequel. But it's called Doomsday Clock, and it's those worlds cross over. In this telling, the comedian who died in the Watchmen universe is actually alive in Batman's universe and has been sort of working for what's her face, Amanda Waller.
Oh,
he's been working for Amanda Waller, who is the leader of the Suicide Squad. She was Viola Davis.
Yeah, that comedian in the Suicide Squad, that would make sense,
right?
It would fit together quite well.
I read up half of it before I lost access. It was brilliant.
Right.
The last episode the last book I read had Batman being captured by the Joker with the help of some of the villains that Ozymandias had brought from the Watchmen universe to help him find Dr. Manhattan. And in this version, Rorschach is a black guy whose father was the psychiatrist of Rorschach when he went to jail. The black guy, like you're reading the comic now.
Yes.
You remember the guy who starts treating Rorschach when he goes to jail?
Sure. The psychiatrist,
His son becomes Rorschach in this.
Oh, cool.
Based on because his dad ends up dying in the explosion that takes out New York.
He's one of the last images you see in the movie. He hugs the kid reading the comic book. He has a bigger role in the comic.
His role is huge in the comic, which they didn't parse out. But in the Doomsday Clock version, that character's son takes up the mask of Rorschach and helps Ozymandias, or was helping Ozymandias find Dr. Manhattan until he gets to Gotham and gets locked up in Arkham, and Batman goes to see him, and he's like, Batman ends up believing him, and he helps Batman. I don't know in what way, because that was the last time, but the writing in it, bro, it's fucking amazing. It's called Doomsday Clock. I think the series is done now. I think they've written all of the
okay. I wonder if they'll pull from that for this TV show.
And that's kind of what I'm wondering now too,
because there is this sort of we'll get to it. So the first episode is called "It's Summer and We're Running Out of Ice,"
which is I didn't realize was the lyrics for a song.
Yes, the song that is sung at the end is also from Oklahoma.
Yes.
So
which was my first musical in high school.
It was?
Yeah.
Sing.
I quit playing football.
Nope, stop. Sing.
There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. The corn is as high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like it's climbing clear up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way.
Awkward clap.
You asked. Don't call down the thunder if you don't want to get rained on, my dude.
So they go and they watch Don Johnson goes and sees a musical.
Well, that's how it opens. Well, no, the opening is the opening of the series is the 1921, I think, bombing of Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah. Which they did not teach in Indiana history class.
No shit. They didn't teach in any of the American history classes. You know how I learned that through? You know how I learned that? Theater.
Oh, yeah?
Doing theater, I learned how the world kind of works. I was working on plays about, for whatever reason, I've been lucky enough to have garnered the roles of a lot of historical African American figures. And over the course of researching and doing the homework for roles, it affords you a wealth of
course.
Yeah. So the bombing of Black Wall Street, the fact Like the fact that like in the middle of the country, Kansas City, Missouri, had one of the highest populations of affluent Black Americans until the segregation of America. Until Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in baseball, like that was sort of the end of like Black affluence in the country. Because up until that point, African Americans sort of had to just there was no means to sort of counter to get to wash money together, so we had to make our own. So there was Black lawyers, Black doctors, Black dentists, like. We just did like the way that white culture had their world. Black people had that too until the desegregation. Excuse me, I was saying segregation until the desegregation of America, and it started with baseball. Once Jackie Robinson sort of broke that color barrier, a lot of these bastions of Black affluence went the way of the wayside because at that point there was no need to have a Black dentist if the white dentist would see you. There was no need to stay in the Black boarding house if the white boarding house was now allowing you to stay there. There was no need to buy at a Black grocery store because now the white grocery stores would let you come in and buy things. So in that way, the fact that this movie started with it, because the Watchmen universe is not our universe.
No, exactly. Well, and I'm actually meant to say this. The thing that makes it not our universe, one, people start wearing masks, but the main thing is the creation of Dr. Manhattan, because once Nixon gets control of this godlike being, he's able to take him to Vietnam and win the Vietnam War. That gets Nixon reelected for multiple terms, past two.
He basically gets to change the rules of the United States based on that war, based on the Vietnam War and the creation of Dr. Manhattan, which was accidental in its nature in the comic books.
And because the movie,
Well, the movie, for lack of a better term, is the comic book telling of it. Yes, really they mince out, they take out a bunch of things, but they leave in what is essential and core to what that story is.
Yeah, I think he does a great job with it. I mean,
when I saw it, I said it, and I think 300 and The Watchmen both share the spotlight as far as like true adaptations of source material based in love and lore. Like the people who made it loved the source material and they treated it as precious, and they took care in taking what was on the page, the intention of what was on the page, to its full fruition. Even though they changed some of the more marked versions of it, it still had the same intention and truth that the source material did. Source material from 1985.
1985, released in 86. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about this world opening and starting with a historical event?
A historical tragedy.
Tragedy, yes.
I feel apt because this is one of the things we talk about on this podcast, and I know at the top of it we joke around and we fuck around a lot, but one of our core things that we talk about on this is that how representation matters, and how seeing yourself represented, even if seeing yourself represented truthfully and authentically, and not a caricature or made fun of or made less of, is important, especially to what we're about here. And so seeing that representation, even what was interesting to me was after that show aired, my feed started getting inundated with these articles of how like there were so many people who didn't know that this
I didn't know about it. No.
No shit.
Never heard of. I've heard of Black Wall Street,
but you didn't know the events
of
why we don't have a Black Wall Street anymore.
Exactly, yeah. But I was not aware that it took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma, around that time. So I didn't know the facts. I had a general idea of what that situation.
Basically, like you see that opening scene where the motherfuckers were using the biplanes, because this is early avionics. So like you had to have bread to even have a plane,
right?
And these motherfuckers took planes and basically carpet bombed this town to non-existence.
Yeah,
it was the most affluent town. It was. I mean, you don't get the moniker of Black Wall Street for nothing. And these motherfuckers basically on this day went into town, killed anybody they could find, and burned this black town to the fucking ground. So and I had no idea. So here I am watching the opening scenes of the series, and it's awesome. It's a kid in the movie. It's a kid in a movie theater watching a movie.
Yeah.
In a vaudevillian way where they would play the music while you're watching what's going on the screen.
Yeah, so if he's watching a video of a black deputy...
Not a video, a movie.
A movie, right. He's watching a film of a black deputy...
Which is an actual person.
Who takes down...
Buck Reeves or what?
Yeah.
The guy that is based on, that's how we get the Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
The character of the Lone Ranger is based on the black guy who beat up his master, escaped slavery, ended up being a fucking marshal. Not unlike Hateful Eight. Samuel L. Jackson's character from Hateful Eight.
So he's one of the first superheroes, in a way, right?
Yes.
So that kid, they get the kid out of the city.
Right.
The kid wakes up.
Oh my God!
The carriage has been blown up. One of the questions that we don't know is necessarily who the kid is, and we don't know what happens to the little black baby girl that the kid picks up.
Who I think ends up being Regina King.
Could be. I think the kid might be Louis Gossett Jr.
No, the kid is Louis Gossett Jr.
It is, right? Yeah, because he has that
at
car.
the end of the kid is
Louis Gossett Jr.'s son.
The kid is Louis Gossett Jr.
That would make sense, because 21, 28? 21, right? And Louis Gossett Jr. says, I'm 103 or 6 years old.
I don't remember him saying that.
Yeah, at the very end, you curse too much. I'm 106, something like that.
That's not.
And earlier
where he's under the tree with Don's body.
Yes. I don't remember. And earlier in the episode, when he first sees Regina King's character, he says,
and he's talking to her. He's like, "Do you own this?"
Yes. And what else does he say? Do you remember?
No.
Do you think I can lift 200 pounds?
Oh, right. Yes.
Now we're not sure what that question is.
And her response is
she just blows him up. Yeah, sure, man.
Yeah,
whatever.
Sure,
Yeah, you're old. There's speculation that his character might be Hooded Justice, which is one of the Minutemen.
Oh, I know who Hooded Justice is.
So I'm going to go back and read this part of this night.
Well, that would make sense because of sort of the Easter eggs that they laid into that. You remember, because in this version, in the series, in this version, they're doing like who wants to be the next top model? Like they're trying to. There's a reality show based on like trying to find another superhero.
Yes. And
the Hooded Justice is used, like all the Minutemen are used in sort of the promotional aspect of it.
Because there's also like a fictional adaptation of their story. Not fictional, but
No.
There's like a mini-series made of the Minutemen that's being showed that's premiering, I think, that night of this episode. Right. So here's what happened, at least in the Watchmen comics, according to Rorschach. He says, the first Night Owl runs an auto repair shop. The first Silk Spectre is a bloated, aging whore dying in a California rest resort. Captain Metropolis was decapitated in a car crash back in 1974. Mothman is in an asylum up in Maine. The Silhouette retired in disgrace, murdered 6 weeks later by a minor adversary seeking revenge. Dollar Bill got shot. Hooded Justice went missing in 1955, and the comedian is dead. So we never find out what happened to Hooded Justice.
So it makes sense. It's amazing that you bring that up because, the Mothman, because in Doomsday Clock, you find out what happens to the Mothman because he gets locked up in Arkham.
Oh.
And the new Rorschach gets locked up in Arkham with him.
Got it.
And the new Rorschach helps the Mothman escape while burning Arkham to the ground.
Okay.
It's fucking... Larry, when I tell you the writing is fucking... I wouldn't be surprised based on the proliferation of like properties that they're taking from the comic book world and graphic novel world and making the movie. I wouldn't be surprised if Doomsday Clock, based on... Because if Watchmen's trajectory keeps on this amazing sort of like arc... Because we're only scratching the surface, and I think we should sort of pick up the pace on like... And tell people this episode's incredible. If you have nothing on the docket and you're not watching anything, go and find a way to watch The Watchmen.
Even the title of this episode, "It's Summer and We're Running Out of Ice," speaks on so many levels. Climate
I
change,
had no idea that
race relations,
like the tie-in of the Oklahoma. Like I thought, like, because I watched it on Cody, and so I read the title. I was like, I know this term from somewhere.
Right.
Is it fiction? Is it something that I read somewhere? Cut to like the very opening scene is it's a black Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's a black Oklahoma. The opening scene in this series is a man sitting watching an all black version of an Oklahoma show. And the other thing that was sort of fascinating to me is the fact that Regina King, the interracialness of this world is amazing to me because it kind of mirrors our world at large. Because Regina King has, and we don't know how, but she has white children.
Well, I think the idea is there's this event that's happened called the White Night, and she got shot. She talks about it when she's in.
Yeah,
in
she used to be a police officer in Canada.
I don't know.
Canada?
She was born in Vietnam, is what she says, but which would make sense because if Dr. Manhattan came and won the Vietnam War, America establishes that as a state.
But I think that was a red herring. I think she was the baby that Lou.
Could be.
That's
who
who
Gossett Jr. finds, right?
I think,
but that would make her 100 years old, so it can't be her because that's back in 1921. This is 2019, 2020.
Right.
So it can't be her. It could be that baby's daughter. Could be her. Right?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, okay. Right.
So she's born in Vietnam. She talks about this event that happened where these people came in and shot her because she was a cop. She says she used to be, but she still is. So this was the event, the White Night, that created the need for cops to start wearing masks. Right. But she got shot, interestingly, in the same spot where Batwoman gets shot in The Killing Joke, also written by Alan Moore. So a little Easter egg there.
No, Batwoman's is a spinal shot. Joker shot her in the back.
Yeah, but if you watch where she holds her stomach, it's like right there.
And
it goes through and hits her spine. Anyways, no, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's beyond the point.
But Alan Moore also wrote the
so they're not her kids, is the idea. Because she's talking about, I got shot and they took all my insides out. And they're
obviously.
They're like,
that's my point. Like,
they're white and different, races. And so I want to talk about the seven Calvary. No. Yeah, seventh Calvary. Seventh Calvary. That's what I'm thinking.
And I think that's from the.
Yeah, what's that from? I didn't look that up.
I think it might be from a Confederate, like.
It's gotta be.
Confederate war I think the 7th Cavalry in the Confederacy was probably one of the bloodiest. I don't know. I didn't look this up, but just in context and connotation. Based on where the show takes place and based on like how they seem to be framing it, I'm pretty sure the 7th Cavalry was one of the bloodier, like I said, Union and Confederate, like one of the worst Confederate
losses during the war.
Oh yeah, or they were responsible for like a number of like. Atrocities over the course of doing. I feel,
and it's also spelled with a K, by the way. 7th Cavalry.
Yeah.
Did you pick up that the president is Robert Redford?
Yes.
Yeah. He's been president for 30 years.
Yeah, that was one of the Easter eggs that I was like, well, you get that right from the original source material that he's. I think the comedian mentions it in the movie. There's mentions of it in the movie.
The comedian kills and assassinates JFK. There's no mention of JFK in this. Right. When they're sitting around, their kids are naming the American presidents. Mm-hmm. They actually don't mention JFK. So it feels like either culturally they've decided to not talk about JFK, or that this show has, in a way, taken JFK out of the storyline.
I think for this show, what they've done is just focus on the presidents that people would sort of like identify as like this not being our world. Like if we say, oh, this is JFK, or if there's mention of JFK, I think people will allude that, oh, this is the Watchmen is based in our reality. Whereas if you just if you give the Easter egg, oh, well, President Robert Redford, well, right. Oh, you'll be named as one of the presidents with Redford, or whatever, gives us the illusion, like lets us know immediately and specific, like. What I think what the series does really well is it runs parallel both actual history and non-actual history.
Right. So it can comment on our current reality
while based on
different spin on it. Yeah.
Right. And I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. But Regina King has been on TV for 30 years.
Yeah.
She's
a beast,
not on TV, not just TV, film. She was on 227, and I don't think you got this in Indiana.
No.
This was, oh shit! And I just saw old girl on what was that show? Oh, one of the things I was into this week was El Camino.
Okay.
I only bring this up because one of the characters in that movie was the main character in 227, where Regina King started. Because Regina King grew up on television. I was watching Regina King as a child on this show called 227 about people who lived in a building, a brownstone, and I forget where it was. But it was about the black neighbors who lived in this building, 227, and Jackie Harris, the actress. I don't know, like I don't think this is even in your wheelhouse because this was in the same way that blaxploitation and the films, like how black people had to just make their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of those shows that in the 80s was a black thing.
Like The Last Dragon.
Right. Like Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
Written by Barry Gordy, music by Barry Gordy, script by Barry Gordy, acted by
Barry Gordy. It's like one of those things where like because we didn't have our own, we made our own. And 227, that's how Regina King got put on.
Yeah.
And she never stopped being on.
Let me ask you, because I want to talk about the 7th Cavalry a little bit.
All right.
Because at the end of Watchmen, both the comic and the movie, they kill Rorschach.
Yeah.
Dr. Manhattan blows him away. He has to because Rorschach is going to go out and tell the truth.
Right.
At the very end, his journal gets out there.
Because he sent it before he went on the mission.
Right.
Yes.
So in the journal is information about all of what happens in Watchmen, except for the fact that this hoax in the comic book's a giant squid. In the TV show, it looks like it's also going to be some form of giant squid that Ozymandias tricks the country, tricks the world.
That makes
but
see, technically, okay, go ahead.
Because basically, he needs to stop World War III from happening, which is going to be.
And what he does is basically, if you don't know the Watchmen property, one of the people who was contracted as being a hero, he makes constructs this elaborate plot to get the world to unite based on a concentrated enemy, a united enemy, someone that we could all get behind to be like, that's the big bad, and this is how we're all gonna get together as a people.
Right.
It would be like
he kills millions to save billions.
Right.
That's his idea.
Right. Kill millions to save billions. And what he basically does is he orchestrates these really massive, horrific, terrorist attacks on the highly populated populaces of the world. New York, Paris. Like it's basically the plot of any Bond film or like Megalomania. Like if you've seen any film where like someone who has all the power and all the money wants to take over or like change the world, they hit major cities, and that's what they do in this.
Yeah. This is the first watch through that I had where I kind of sided on Vet's Ozymandias's side.
This was the first watch through? Like based on like before Endgame came out, I had been watching Avengers
Justice League?
No, goddamn it. Oh my the one before Endgame.
Infinity War.
Thank you. Jesus Christ.
I'll edit that out. Don't worry. I would never make you look like you're losing it.
Come on. No, I'm losing it. I am fucking losing it for all intents and purposes. I'm fucking losing it. But like how in Endgame they show you. Oh, now I forget my point. God damn it.
Infinity War. They show you something happening. Thanos.
Oh, Thanos. Like. Okay, so.
Listen, man.
Oh man,
cue cards are right here. Just read the cue cards.
I just gotta read. Hey, roll them up. You gotta roll up the prompter. You gotta roll the prompter back up.
He can read. Just not that fast.
Just roll it back up, Brad. Roll it up, Brad. No, but
it's a hard one.
Like I must have watched Infinity War like 25 times before Endgame dropped, and every single time I would watch it, I would be more on the side of Thanos. I get his motivations for it. Like all of the things he goes through to get to where I was like, dude, I get it.
That motivation was almost more threadbare than what this is. This is like in order to stop
a
World War III, a world annihilating event.
Yeah, an extinction level event. I got to kill X amount of millions of people.
So coming into this show, 30 years prior, a giant squid has formed in New York City, and I think is it just New York or is it
just New York?
Right, so it's just New York, and it freaks out the world so much.
Well, no, that squid destroys New York.
It destroys New York, and it freaks out the world so much
that the world comes together. The world unifies.
Other things that don't happen though because of that, they don't have the internet now in this TV show. They don't have cell phones. They're just now starting to get into digital technology.
Oh, is that why we get what's his name? The Owl's ship as like one of the police vehicles?
That's an unanswered question. We don't know what the answer to that is yet for this show, but it is the reason why they carry around pagers. Remember, she holds out the pager. Why is she having a pager? Oh well, whatever. We're just watching it. That's why, because tech is so back in analog. Because they became so scared that somehow it was blamed on Dr. Manhattan, just like the movie, that they become scared of technology. The world does, and so it kind of keeps things stagnant.
Well, it's interesting because
years.
there's that moment in the beginning of the movie where apparently in this version of the world, cops have oversight. Their police are actually policed.
Yeah.
Because he goes on a traffic stop and then he realizes that shit has gone south and he has to go back to his car and ask for authorization to get his gun out of
he calls
lock.
Panda.
Yeah.
Back at the precinct. I think that's Jacob Ming Trent.
Was that?
I think that actor's Jacob Ming Trent. Yeah, he's in the
serious?
Watchmen. Yeah. Jacob Ming Trent, for everybody listening, was in a play of mine with Rob and I.
Yo, I love Jacob Ming Trent,
let me look it up real quick.
Yo, Jacob Ming Trent. Well, not only I think he was the first Shrek.
Broadway Shrek, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was the first Shrek on Broadway.
Yes. Or Shrek's dad is what he was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, he was in one of the first Shreks on Broadway.
Yeah.
But yo, Jacob Ming Trent, and we did Promise Tomorrow today with Nick Mills Nick Mills and Kristen Friedlander.
Yeah, we were calling it Beef back then, but yeah.
Was it Beef back then?
Yeah, he played Marley, the character of Marley. Yeah, Jacob Ming Trent Panda.
Get the
so
fuck
you see that big panda hat, and they're like,
shit.
Can we have our guns? And he's like, oh, it doesn't say
Captain, I don't think this is a good idea.
Yeah, exactly.
No shit, that's Jacob?
Yeah, and underneath that panda hat. But who is he as a character, though?
Well, I mean, hopefully, we'll see in the course of maybe we'll see Panda get involved over the course of it. But that's awesome.
So we got to wrap this up because we got some other stuff to do. But there is PDpedia was this thing that was released online, which is sort of like it documents the details of everything that you need to know about the comics once it ended. It's this sort of like thing that HBO created that answers a lot of questions about things that had happened between Watchmen the comic and HBO the TV show.
Okay. Well, do they tell you how much time has passed between? Because one of the things that they kind of tease right at the top is that Ozymandias has died allegedly.
Which Jeremy Irons he's alive.
Jeremy Irons is Ozymandias.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, they say a couple things in the document. They talk about after the squid drop, America went analog again because of the fear of the technology.
Wait. So in the HBO series, the squid is what has happened.
Yes,
not Dr. Manhattan.
Not in the Zack Snyder movie. They basically create this like electric bomb for all these different cities.
Well, because
it's easier to explain.
It's easier to explain using the energy of Dr. Manhattan to make Dr. Manhattan the enemy of the world. That's why he goes to Mars or whatever. But he does that anyway in the comics.
Yes.
Even after because he comes back too late to stop the event, even though he kind of knew that it was going to happen. And then his response is, I'm going to self-exile myself to Mars. And that's where Doomsday Clock picks up.
Yes.
Is Manhattan's on this impose exile to Mars, and then he...
Right. And this document that's also out online, the PDpedia, talks about how Ozymandias helped Robert... Yeah, PDpedia. Peteypedia. It talks how Ozymandias helps Robert Redford become president. There have been something like 24 consecutive years of conservative rule in the United States. So this Ozymandias guy, who creates peace in the country, creates peace throughout the world, but nobody knows that... that it was a hoax, it was a trick.
Right.
Also brings Robert Redford Did you also pick up the Redfordations?
Yes.
The play Robert Redfordations.
Yes.
Play on reparations, which I thought was really interesting.
It's why Regina King's character's adopted son has a fight in the first few minutes. Because anyway.
Yeah, so that's
I like that she has that moment where she's saying something like the kid's like, that kid was a racist, and Regina's to like, no, he's not a racist, but he's well on his way.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I feel like that is, well, that's a point that the writing on the show is, like, for them to take a stance like this, to make a show like this surrounding race and a time where race is important in our country, and have a character say a black woman character say a line like that.
Yeah.
Is profound.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And deep.
Yeah. We're also this show is kind of on the side of the cops. Right now it's the cops versus the white nationalists.
Yeah.
Which are the Rorschach guys. What's interesting, my point that I wanted to make about Rorschach is that he's trying to get out there and tell the truth, so they kill him for it. The white nationalists of the 7th Cavalry, they find his journals, right? Well, and so they start wearing his mask.
Is that what the what you were just saying, the PDF?
Pedia talks about?
Is that what that says?
I mean, I think it's also in the show, the first episode.
Well, in the comic, the last thing in the comic and the movie, Rorschach has mailed his journal to a newspaper,
right?
And it gets put on like the fanatic bin or whatever. But the editor or whatever is like, hey, we need something from that for the the front page or whatever. And this copywriter or whatever picks up Rorschach's journal from the crazy file,
right?
And that is the end of the book. That's the end of the comic and the end of the movie. Is you see a reporter taking Rorschach's journal with the truth,
right,
and opening it. And
but it can't be the truth of Ozymandias's plan,
because then it makes sense.
Yeah, because he mailed it before he found out what Ozymandias
was doing. Right. Great.
So he can't know that. So if the white nationals have this journal, they have some version of the truth, but they don't have the full truth. And if you think about what Rorschach is, what is a Rorschach test? It's a thing that you look at
and say, what does this look like to you?
It's your interpretation of it, right? Versus the other guy, I forget the actor's name. He wears the mask that's the mirror.
Yeah.
So when you look at that mask, you get the truth,
reflection,
and that's sort of his job. So I thought that was really interesting. And the last thing is like that I want to talk about before we move on is the 7th Cavalry are like collecting all of these sort of like bad lithium batteries, presumably make some sort of bomb. And they're also talking about a countdown that's coming. Mm-hmm. What do we think that countdown's to? Is it a countdown to the truth that maybe they think they know but may not have all of the information of, right? Mm-hmm. Or is it a countdown to some other event?
I don't know. I think the potential for where the show is going based on how they started it is amazing, because in a ways it is kind of representing the cops, but most of the cops, not even that. There's a point to be made about how they're taking a stance to tell this story.
Yeah. I mean, they're going hard.
They are.
Yeah.
They're
leaning into all of these things that, like, we talked about Joker.
Well, you should definitely go, like, and we talk about Joker and the fact that, like, Joker should have been a comment about race, right, and not shied away from,
or at least had that element in it,
right?
Yeah.
And what Joker is, what Joker isn't, I feel like the Watchmen is.
Yeah.
It fills in all those holes about, like, because the Joker was definitely a comment on now and what's going on now, but it stayed safe in this way of being like, yeah, well,
we're not going to make you confront
in
this 2-hour movie,
right? But this
opens with a confrontation,
right?
Oh, remember this history? Oh, you don't?
Oh, you don't? Well,
here it is.
And that's kind of where, like, this week kind of went for me, because after like I watched it the day after it aired. And almost immediately, my feed was inundated with these articles of people who didn't know that had existed. Yes. And that's not the
which was me.
It's not me admonishing that.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that, like, the victors of write the history, and it plays to that in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think
I look forward to watching this.
Me too.
I don't know if we'll update you every episode as we go.
No, probably not. I think I feel like I may just take a step back from it, let it queue up so that I can just digest it all in one huge chunk.
Yeah.
I hope we get 12 episodes.
Yeah.
12, 13. I hope we get a solid chunk of it.
I'm sure we could look up like how many episodes there are.
But yeah, but in rewatching the original, what were your thoughts on it?
I think it's really good. I think it slightly misses the point of Watchmen, but because it wants to be an entertaining movie. Like part of what the Watchmen comic book is about is that heroes are ineffectual and useless. This is what Alan Moore is trying to tell us,
which is the comedian stance,
right?
Alan, I feel like Alan Moore as an author is the comedian.
Yeah. Or they're these kind of fearsome fanatics. They're about domination, which is what the comedian kind of is, or Ozymandias. So, and there's not really any action in the comic
because the
per
comedian
se
is pseudo about domination, but he has a child with Silk Spectre.
Yeah,
like there's a, and then he uses one of his villains to sort of like that whole bit where like his arch nemesis ends up becoming his confidant.
Yes,
and like that thing, it's such a brilliant device where he showed up in my house one night and he was crying. I was like, what? Crying?
Yeah.
And like you find out later why he ends up in his house and why he's like
Moloch,
that whole speech Moloch. Yeah, Moloch. Like that whole speech he has where like he wakes up and he's just sitting at the edge of his bed monologuing about like, all these years we fought, I think you were you were the only true friend I had, blah blah blah. Like that thing is so
yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, he's one of my favorite characters in the movie. So, and like I said, I think the movie knows it needs to, I think the movie Zack Snyder actually made the right choice. He adds some action, particularly that moment in the jail scene where they're going there and they're kicking ass. The action's really good. Mm-hmm. There's other moments where it gets really bloody, which I don't know if I need all the broken bones and all that stuff. I get what he's doing, but a lot of that stuff is not in the comic at all.
Right.
It's not really an action comic. But I think he knows if I'm going to make these people sit through what they think is a superhero movie for 2.5 plus hours, I got to give them these things.
Right.
So in a way, it misses the point by making the superheroes look so cool, but makes it a more enjoyable movie. I'm just not entirely sure that the idea of making this 300-page comic into a movie was ever a good idea.
You don't think so?
I don't know. It's so good as a comic. That you don't really need it as a movie.
It's so good as a comic, but I feel like it's one of these like period pieces, in the same way that like Taxi Driver is a period piece. No, well the original. I'm talking about the original, because it's based in like the Cold War, and it's based in real world things. A war, a doomsday clock, sort of like an arms race. It's based in an arms race.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, those aspects of it sort of still hold up because we still haven't left any of those things behind. We're still in arms race. It may be different. It may not necessarily be nuclear, but it is, technological. It's, on so many other different fronts, it's still a Cold War. And so I think, like, I think the show has a very good basis or trajectory, a very good base to go on a really nice trajectory based on this first episode.
Yeah. Apparently it says there's going to be 20 of them.
20 in
the
first season?
In how many episodes
in
of
the first
Watchmen?
season?
It says 20. But I can't find... that's just what Google does automatically.
That's not true.
That can't be true. 20 episodes? Holy shit.
Yeah. No, HBO is not doing that.
Yeah. I'm high. It's the number one show that I feel like I'm watching right now.
I feel like it will be the number one show I'm watching. I mean, it definitely made my high list of things I was into this week.
Coming up November 4th, by the way, before we jump into that, is His Dark Materials is also coming to HBO. So you're going to get that.
I'm actually looking forward to that.
Kind of. I'm like, man.
I mean,
where does Lin-Manuel Miranda play in my life as an action hero?
That's kind of where it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the first real litmus test for Lin-Manuel that isn't something of his own creation,
right. Or Mary Poppins,
right?
He's dope
where you're a liar because I remember that podcast. You were like, he's fine. He's basically himself from Hamilton and In the Heights, and that's fine because it serves. This is the movie.
That's always what he's been. So can he be something else? For his Dark Materials?
I think his Dark Materials is sort of like our audition for Lin-Manuel going forward.
Yeah.
But I feel like he'll be fine.
So what else were you into?
I'm gonna go briefly.
Cut you off at one point because
you always do. You always do. But I'm gonna go quickly. Big Mouth season 3. If you haven't seen any of Big Mouth, I just put another friend of mine onto Big Mouth recently. He was at my place. I was watching season 3. He was like, "What is this?" I was like, "You don't know this? It's Big Mouth." The writing on it, it's John Mulaney, Nick Kroll. I don't know if they're writers.
I like Kroll. I like the Kroll show a lot.
I like the Kroll show a lot too. But those two guys together are a dynamite combination. Kind of like you and I. Kind of like Batman and Robin. Kind of like Peanut Butter and Jelly. Kind of like...
okay. I can get that I'm clearly the Robin of this dynamic.
I mean,
but
it says Batman. I mean, you could just be like Batman.
Are you Peanut Butter and I'm Jelly?
Yeah. I mean, you could be. I'm brown and you're wearing a purple. And you're wearing purple. So
and I'm fruity.
Yeah. A little. I mean,
a little fruity.
Gotcha.
Fruitier.
Yeah. I mean, you're not Lin-Manuel Miranda. Wait, no, that's not who wore that fruit hat.
Coffee and cream. I'm just trying to think of other comparisons.
Ham and burger.
I'm the burger. You're the ham.
Ketchup and mustard. Ernie and Bart.
Wait, I'm mustard? I think in this. I think you would be the mustard.
I'm gonna be the yellow one.
Yeah.
No, motherfucker. No, motherfucker. I am ketchup. Yo ass is mustard. What is you on?
I want to do this all day. Just come up with comparisons that really aren't comparisons.
Well, we ain't got time for all that. So in week 42, here's what I was into. Big Mouth season 3. Dion Cole. This is stand up. Dion Cole. Cole Harding.
I watched it.
What'd you think?
I kind of don't remember because it was late. And I was very stoned with my wife. But I did like it. I had a thought, but I don't know what that thought was.
God damn it. Well, think about it for the next time because I think
Remind me what he talked about. What was his jokes?
Well, one of the premises of Dion Cole is his stand-up his whole bit used to be he was the stand-up. He would come out. He's like, "Hey y'all, I'm gonna try out some jokes on y'all." And
he had the same thing because he had the notepad.
He had the notepad.
I'm just trying these notes. He did the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. But that used to be his whole.
Yeah, I'll see if these work or not.
I won't put it in the show. Whole thing. Like I was really glad that he only did it for like a soft section.
Yes,
of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Because. I mean, he used to only have like 5-10 minutes, so like the whole set used to be just that. He's like, "Hey, fams, I'm just gonna try out some jokes on y'all," and and he would do that bit. But he actually had some pertinent shit that he was saying, and honestly, I don't remember a lot of it now too because it's been a few weeks and he's not Dave Chappelle level.
There was something I felt a ways about.
You did,
which I just realized is becoming one of our taglines.
Felt a ways.
It's like what we into. Feel a ways.
What we into? We do feel a ways.
Yeah. That'll be on our T-shirt. Front will say what we into. Back will say feel a ways.
Feel a ways.
People just be filling this up every time we're like, "What are you doing, man?
Hey, get your hands off me, sir!"
I said feel away.
Hey, wait. Not that kind of show. Not that kind of show.
Go on, sorry. It was good though. I recommend watching it. It was good comedy on Netflix.
Yeah, Dion Cole, Cold-Hearted. I highly recommend it. Fury, spelled Furie. I think it was It's been a few weeks now because my list has grown so much.
Where did you watch it on?
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. Furie, Fury,
okay.
And I watched it because it was a kick out, but the main protagonist was a woman, and I think I want to say Filipino.
Why does Netflix never recommend this stuff to me? This
because
looks great.
you don't watch kickouts the way I watch kickouts because there's a bunch of shit that my algorithm is mad different.
Veronica No stars as an ex-gangster who is lying low in the countryside after becoming a mother, but she can't escape her violent past when her daughter is kidnapped. She's
a debt collector. She used to be like a gangster in, I want to say Korea. Is this Korean?
It sounds like Vietnamese because her last name is No.
Vietnamese. All right.
NGO.
So
or Nguyen or Nguyen is that's pronounced, I believe.
I feel like Nguyen. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm not gonna speculate, but the main it's a brown person and the main person is is female, and yeah, exactly. She's basically she's a debt collector, and her kid gets kidnapped, and she has to go on like it. You know
Does she
what?
have a sword?
No, she doesn't. She puts boots and foot to people's asses a lot. There might be a little suspension of disbelief seeing like a 90-pound woman take shots to the face like she does. Always. But it's really well done. They get you get your money's worth for it.
I'll check it out.
It's a good story.
That looks interesting.
Let me go quickly. Wu-Tang Collection, Shaolin versus Llama. I watched this. The note is that they're both in both these what I was into.
What you can't see is he's got like half a piece of paper, like wax paper that piece of pastrami's
that I ripped out of a notebook. But
you got that from Cat's Delicatessen.
But it's good. Like any Run Shaw, if you can find a Run Shaw kick out, just sit down and watch it. It's there. There's something to be delighted in. Just the ingenuity of them figuring out like the camera tricks, even though you see the seams, because that's the thing with Run Shaw. You always see the seams, but it's always sort of like, well, look, I feel like they ran that backwards and that anyway.
What's that? Would you watch that one on?
Oh, that's on you can get that on YouTube. I think like all the Run Shaw, all of the kick out.
That last episode,
you can definitely just pull up YouTube and. I would type in. It's called. Actually, I would type in if you're gonna like look for any of this on YouTube. Type in Wu-Tang Collection.
Yeah.
Type in Wu-Tang Collection.
Are you up to date on Wu-Tang and American Saga?
Not yet. I will
Very
get back
good.
to it. But
highly recommend
wow,
it,
you highly recommend it now.
It's still a mix of very good stuff with occasionally really bad dialogue moments. That at this point, 10 episodes in, you're just like, all right, fine, just.
I'm in it. I'm in it. Okay.
Catch up. It's good.
You want to interject anything that you were into right now?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
That was it. You're reminding me of what else I watched this week because I don't even remember.
El Camino, which was
did not see it.
Which was basically the hour and a half bookend to Breaking Bad.
I heard it was a bit trivial.
Yeah, like you didn't need it.
Yeah,
you honestly did not need it. It's basically the whole movie is the 24 hours, maybe 48 hours after Jesse gets released from that last episode of Breaking Bad. Like if you watch the last episode of Breaking Bad, don't watch this.
Got it.
Don't watch. It's unnecessary. You don't need it. It's tertiary in the most tertiary way that it could possibly be. Yes, our boy Aaron Paul is fine in it, but you don't need it.
Give us the money, Lebowski.
You don't need it. But it's fine. I like I said, I finished the DS9 rewatch. Also great. League of Legends Origins. That's what led me.
Game?
Yeah, no, the League of yes, video game that led to like it's the the you know how we get the title MOBA, multi online battle arena. We get that from League of Legends.
Okay.
It's
a documentary.
It's a documentary.
Yes.
It's not a movie. It's a documentary. But I feel like it holds sway and place in what we're trying to do right now.
Got it.
In what, like, me and you have decided we're going to do a weekly podcast about the things that we like in this aspect. This has a lot. It has a lot of the shades of what we like to get down on. I think it's worth a watch just based on the fandom and fandomship of it all. It's
on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. You could definitely check that
nice.
out. And the last, Vagabond. I know.
No, okay. Vagabond?
Vagabond. It's Korean. I think it's one of these things where you get an initial 4 or 5 episodes that are straight up like an hour long, and then after a certain time you'll get weekly releases. Mm-hmm. It's very good.
This is also Netflix.
Yeah,
you were on Netflix a lot this last
because
week.
I kind of the stuff that I have for that were on Kodi weren't that great. They weren't that great. Like I saw Batwoman, meh.
Yeah,
I saw a bunch of things, but it just wasn't. It didn't live up. I saw Robin Hood. I saw Anna. I saw Doom Annihilation, which I actually highly recommend. It's one of the things I starred. Doom, I think it's 2019 out of 2018. They made a Doom movie.
Yeah.
Based on the Doom video game.
With The Rock?
No, not with The Rock.
Oh, so
this one is good.
There's another Doom. The Doom movie with The Rock is good. It's also got what's his face?
Keith Urban.
Yeah, Ken Urban. Keith Urban?
I think it was.
I think you're right, Keith Urban. Don't listen to me.
Anyway, it's an Urban. Anyway. Yeah. That
Mr.
movie
Urban.
is not that great. It's only great because the property is a video game property, and the last 15 minutes they lean really into that.
They do. They actually go to a first-person perspective,
right? Which actually saved that movie for me.
Yeah.
Because up until that point, I was like, "This is not a Doom movie. This is a trash fire."
And it's also one of the few movies, and I think I talked about this on a previous podcast, that they have not realized who Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is yet as an actor,
right?
And he's actually the bad guy.
Yeah.
And it's weird watching him as the bad guy.
I liked it. I want more. I wanted him to be.
Yeah.
I want more movies with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as a bad guy.
It has its place in history.
It was so, like having him use the word "motherfucker" is amazing.
Weird. It's shocking.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Doom Annihilation. I recommend it.
Okay.
It takes what the first movie didn't do and sew it all up. And the main the main protagonist is female again in this one. So they it's basically they put you in the shoes of the character, the first play, like you played the Dooms.
Mm-hmm, sure.
They put you in the shoes of that character, but you're a woman.
Right.
And then they jump off. It's great. It's great. It's better than also than
Netflix?
No. That was one of the few Cody ones that I got down on this week.
Okay. I'll find it so you can
Doom Annihilation. If you can find it. Yeah. It's better served than it actually looks. I highly recommend it. And I want to talk a little bit about Breakpoint.
We don't have time.
Well, I want to talk about Breakpoint.
We have to do comments next week.
Well, then we'll do comments. I want to.
Okay, sorry everybody. Rob has to talk about Breakpoint.
No, I'm going to talk about
You're not gonna get
Breakpoint
any
because
comments.
I've been putting this off for 2 weeks. So Ghost Recon Breakpoint is it came out at the top of October.
Oh, this is the video game Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Yes.
Oh! Now you're interested. You weren't interested when I was saying Ghost Recon.
You legitimately have been very patient about trying to get this on the podcast. Okay. Ghost Recon Breakpoint, the video game, Tom Clancy.
So I'm gonna just give you the broad strokes because we're running out of time. If you're a fan of the Tom Clancy's or any of the Ghost Recons, I would say that you're going to be disappointed in this initial thing because it's not a Ghost Recon game.
So it's not like Wildlands.
No, it's not like Wildlands. In Wildlands, you had a squad. It was you and your 3 squad mates. In this one, it's just you until you decide to log on with other. Not decide to log on. You're logged into the world, and other people have their world. And until you to say, "Hey, do you want to?" Unless you invite someone or join their game, it's basically you're running large scale missions in a very very large open world by yourself without backup.
So this would be good for me.
I don't maybe.
Because I normally don't have time to connect with people online.
Yeah, actually, not that I think it might be, and you don't really have to pay attention to the story in this.
I'm that guy playing Destiny by himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, in that way, then I think you would have more fun with this because whereas Destiny has a very, very kind of a stringent, you run the same sort of maps over and over again. The breadth and scope and scale of this world is so large. Even if you end up running the same compound again, it will be completely different. The world is so huge and so massive. And my initial thoughts about it are that the mechanics of it are still shit.
Are they similar to Wildlands or are they different?
No, it's exactly like Wildlands, except that you don't. All the things that made Wildlands fun and sort of intuitive and.
I mean mechanics though.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay.
All the things that they've subtracted some mechanics that made the gameplay easier and more accessible and fun. Unless you're an experienced Ghost Recon or an experienced this kind of shooter gameplay, it's gonna be frustrating for you. All that to say is if you don't know this game and you're not a fan of these games, wait till a deep sale. Don't go pick this up. Even because it suffers from the same thing that Anthem suffers
right,
from.
Okay.
It showed us something, it promised us something, and then the final product was very, 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 very much off of what the initial. But the differences between Anthem and this is, this has enough of a following and enough like it does enough things well.
Established property as well. It has a fan base.
And it does enough of the things well that you can overlook a lot of what is circumstantial about it's circumstantial to your layman, but to a true fan of this genre, you're like, come on, man! I can't vault 2 feet up, but I can climb a rock face, or like I can forage a river, but I get stuck on a doorway because of like
that stuff drives me nuts in video games.
I'm like, look, you guys have been making these video games for almost 15 fucking years, and now I'm still suffering from the same shit that I was suffering from like the Generation 1 shit. That's laziness. Like,
so do you think that this game's gonna have like a No Man's Sky type of release where like a year from now they're gonna update it and it's gonna be dope?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm about 40 hours in now. I've been playing. Initially there was points where I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to play because this isn't a Ghost Recon game. But I've reached a gear level and a skill curve enough that like they're loading this for the back end, not for the front end. Like they're loading. They already have like seasons 2 and 3 based in
they're in the long haul.
Yeah, this is the long game for Ubisoft, but this initial game is not good because they're just running down the back of the box to check off. We have online play, we have this, we have first person. Like they're just basically trying to check boxes. It wasn't really about the actual game. Mm-hmm. And I downloaded. I think we talked about it last week, the MLB Show.
Oh, the video game, the
PlayStation Now,
which we're done with because we're now officially Xbox Game Plus.
Wade, turn on the reactor, Wade.
Wade, open your mind.
Open your mind.
Open your mind, Wade. Official supervisor of dank memes at Xbox.
And that's it. That's all I was into.
Do you want to hear my mom talk about penises and vaginas for a moment?
I could be into it.
My mom says, "Hi guys, heard your discussion about circumcision and want to give you the ladies' perspective."
Oh, please, Mom, please.
I'm not excited to read this, but I'm going.
Really?
It's good. It's good content, and I got 1 minute left before I got to go. We had Larry and Bo circumcised for 2 reasons.
Okay.
First, their dad is, and also we knew many of our friends were having their sons done. Kids compare themselves with their peers and their dads. Just a fact of life. But the big thing for me was UTIs. You can say...
urinary tract infections.
Yep, that's what that means. Okay. You can say what you like, but a lot of women have a problem with chronic UTIs. It follows them throughout life.
Are UTIs... Do you get UTIs from men giving it to women? No shit. I did not know that.
She says, it hurts, it's painful, and it's a bitch to cure. Quantities of antibiotics. I don't care how clean you are, there's bacteria hidden in the dark under the foreskin. Even ladies in our family have suffered. Grandmas, I didn't realize my grandma was
wow. Mom's dug the history out. She's like, look, we got documentation.
Boom.
Here's the reasons why. Thank you, Ma. Yeah. I appreciate that because I had no real basis for it. I don't know why.
But Grandma's favorite quote when discussing whether to wear underwear at night was, "Girl, you don't want to wear underwear at night. You need to air that thing out." Love, Mom.
Mom, I fucking love you. That's amazing, girl. You need to air that thing out.
Air it out. From my grandma.
That's old knowledge right there. That's old knowledge right there. She ain't wrong.
So before we go, is chopping shit off of your dick worth women not getting UTIs?
I think so. I think if it's worth like a couple of weeks of me being like, ooh, put some ointment on it, versus them getting something that's hard to treat. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take that hit. The world is ours, bro. The least we could do is take a little dick.
Chop some shit off our dick.
Chop some shit off your dick.
All right, ladies, you got it.
I get it now.
We chopped it off.
I get it now.
Chopping it off just for you.
I'm your boy, Rob Carmen Robinson.
And I'm Lawrence Style. Thank you so much for listening.
See you next week, y'all.
See you next week. Later, haters.
Oh, God.
I can see it. Diamonds in face crushed up. I can see it. Diamonds in face crushed up. The world know what we Diamonds in the face.